having the bowl turned around, it's now inside the chuck. Often when you've got between centres and turning the bowl into a chuck, the outsides have got to be returned. That's why I've left it fairly rough on this side. There is quite a large piece here that's missing. It's a crotch piece, so we're trying to capture as much of the figure as we can, and a maple crotch certainly got a branch here forming a knot, and of course this is part of the core of the crotch. So we're going to turn this bowl fairly loosely, but I may even leave some of this character formation behind in the bowl, which will limit the depth of the bowl, but it's more of the aesthetic appearance of these things, at the end of the day. So follow me. Well, it's getting close. Almost eradicated that formation. Got a bit of a gnarly piece up here, but it's the bowl getting very, very small. But size doesn't matter in this terms. We're trying to keep the character of the grain, and it's certainly staying there. Yep, that's about as far as I want to go with this. Got the figure coming right out there on the side. Besides which, if you go any further, there's going to be no bowl left. Let's get some depth into things here. Face up, bowl in. Well, you can see that on camera there, but there's a nice unhealthy crack happening right on the inside of the bowl, and it's going right through. So getting a little bit of thin CA glue, and as I've said before in my previous videos, I don't like using this a lot because it does stain the wood, but sometimes you've got no choice, otherwise you're going to lose a whole side of a bowl with just a flick of that gouge. So I'm not going to really drown it. I'm just going to use a little bit of sawdust once applying, fill that crack a little bit, and it certainly will do the job. Just hopefully that we don't stain it too much. Yep, you can see, well, you can't see here, but the CO glue does come through to the outside. So I'm going to meet it up there as well. Just a very light touch. Okay. Okay, you can't see it on the camera as well as I do, but there's about a 1/8 inch thickness on the top of the rim, and it then thickens out to around about 1/2 inch around the corner there. So I'm going to take out a little bit more. Certainly not going to revisit that rim. I'll probably use the scraper just to get that rim before it gets any thinner. You can see there that the scraper is skating across that rim. That's because the rim's now vibrating from the thin wall. So as things turn faster, of course, it's going to get a bit of a wobble on. So it's an idea now not to revisit that rim, even though I can see some tool marks appearing on the inside. I'm just going to have to sand those out. It's no good going with any tools now. It's going to catch, or worse, it's going to go right through the very thin part of that wall. I really don't know why woodturners like to aim for the very thin walls. I don't usually. I like to keep the structure of the bowl in place, but this particular piece of wood has very little moisture content, so I don't think it's going to go into any sorts of cracking or overlation. I'm going to leave it as it is and keep that wall nice and thin, but not overly thin. There's a coat of myelin sanding sealer on there now. Then I'm going to use the Acks Abrasive paste and Acks polish, and finally I'll use the myelin's friction polish as a finish. Time to remove the foot from the bottom of the bowl, trap it between the friction chuck and tailstock, getting it nice and balanced Simple way of doing this is to bring your tool rest up close to the rear of the bowl. The bowl has had a chuck around this side, so you just hold your thumb on the edge, and if you can feel it touching your thumb, like at that spot there, that's a high spot. So go completely opposite to the side of the bowl. You can just tap the bowl until it lines up perfectly. Got to be careful with this bowl because the wall's very, very thin. A few more turns and that will crack. I hope not. I just use my half-inch bowl gouge to take these foot off. Be very careful not to get a catch because this thing can break. It's very, very thin. Well, that's this week's project finished. It started out with this, and this is where it ended. A very small piece, but you know, I'm very, very happy with the grain and the figure. So if you have a look very closely at this and get it all focused in on the camera as usual, you can see that it's come out very, very nice. There's the bottom with the badge on, the maker's badge on the bottom, and the inside, of course, the grain structure is very, very nice. I got the wall thickness down to 1/8 of an inch all the way through to about 3/8 of an inch on the bottom, and I was worried that the old maker's badge was going to go right through. I've used a Forstner bit with and sharpened away the point so that it is a flat edge of the Forstner bit to make that maker's badge sit nicely on the bottom. So there you have it, guys. There's the project finished. Next week. Cheers.